All right, let's get into the first one today.
All right.
My body, my choice. That's
right.
a common phrase that we hear today.
Yeah.
And right away when I hear my body, my choice, that stance is automatically making me think that the baby is something like an intruder. An unwanted person in the house of the woman that we would call her body. And it just makes the baby seem like an intruder or even like a parasite that's just sucking the life from the mom. And it's like, no. That's not how we have to look at this right here. So as we go ahead with this my body, my choice right here, these are some things that we need to consider. The value of life decreases or is dismissed once you become dependent upon others for your survival. This is what is the common phrase, the common thought today is that your value of life decreases or is dismissed once you become more dependent upon others for your life, right? And I think that's just wrong.
Yeah.
There was an article that I read the other day, and it was talking about Lecrae's stance on things and how Ben Watson responded to it, right? And I'm pulling it up right now. Lecrae had tweeted on his page that he had an abortion beforehand. He paid for someone to get an abortion. And this was talked about on his project. So those of you that already listened to his project, you're probably not surprised by him saying that. Lecrae tweeted, he said, "I've paid for an abortion. I regret it. I won't pretend I'm fully educated on the policy nuances or women's experiences. I just don't seem to hear the voices crying against the murder of children inside the womb as the same ones that are crying about those outside the womb," right? And so Watson, which we will be speaking about later too, that difference in people talking about caring about the lives of those inside the womb compared to those outside the womb, right? So Ben Watson says, "Here I am, bruh. In the womb, outside the womb, conception to grave, count me in. Standing for life does not have to be a mutually exclusive event." So he's for caring for those inside the womb and outside the womb, right? But there's a lot of people that aren't, and we'll touch on that later. But I thought Ben Watson's wife had a pretty good perspective on this. She said, "An infant once born is still completely dependent on the bodies of others for survival, but no one thinks an infant lacks the right to live. Dependency does not eliminate humanity. In fact, it enriches humanity." And so she goes on to say pretty much that people that make this argument that because the baby is totally dependent upon the mom, there's no point in the baby even being born if the mom doesn't want to. Because it's the mom's choice. The baby is totally dependent upon the mom, and I think this is backwards. I think it's a backwards argument because you got to ask yourself: imagine feeling this way about the babies outside the womb. Aren't they still in need of the mom to take care of them?
Yeah, same thing.
The mom still needs to take care, or somebody still needs to take care of that baby once it leaves the womb. You can't just deliver a baby and leave that baby there and expect to come back a couple weeks later and it's still alive and everything like that. That's not how it works. Still needs someone to take care of the baby outside the womb just like inside the womb, right?
Yeah.
Do we feel this way about the poor and needy? We take care of the poor and needy. Are they no longer have that right to live anymore because they're dependent upon us to take care of them? What about the elderly? What about the handicapped?
Yeah.
Do they no longer have a right to live because they're being taken care of by us? I don't think that your dependency upon someone else takes away your right or dismisses.
It's not a sustainable worldview, man.
Not at all.
You know, it's
not at all.
You're picking and choosing at that point. It's not across the board a worldview that's sustainable.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And one that I don't even think they actually live out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because of course they're not gonna get rid of the elderly. You know what I'm saying? At least that's how they're thinking right now.
I don't know if you've ever read The Giver.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
and there's a bunch of books that talk about this stuff. And
but that's the conclusion to it.
There's countries in the world that actually do that. You know what I mean? There's countries where you get to a certain age, you can't take care of yourself. It's commit suicide. The person commits suicide. Anyway.